Are you stuck in your house with nothing to do? Erin is here to bake with you. Quarantine Baking with Erin.
And welcome to Quarantine Baking with Erin. Today we are going to be making creme brulee. The reason we're making creme brulee is because the other day I made macarons, and macarons use egg whites. And so I had leftover egg yolks. So I'm actually going to be making a half recipe from my handy dandy Mark Bittman cookbook. I do have like 15 cookbooks, but it shows you how good Mark Bittman really is. I keep coming back. Okay, so to make creme brulee, you need a cup and a quarter of heavy cream, which I've pre-measured. And you are going to cook it. You're going to cook it on, it doesn't even say, so let's try medium. Until you can see the steam rising from the heated heavy whipping cream, and then you're gonna cover it once you see the steam rising. So I wasn't quite satisfied for once with the specificity of how long do I heat it? What should it be boiling? Whatever. So I looked up Alton Brown's recipe. He says to once you see the kind of the bubbles around the edge, to remove from heat and then cover for 10 to 15 minutes. So that is what we were doing. Okay, so first off, I owe a huge apology to Mark Bittman because his directions were clear and I just didn't read them very carefully. The whole cover and let sit thing has to do with when you're using a real vanilla bean. So you heat it up, you cover it, and you let the vanilla bean seep throughout. I don't have any real vanilla beans, so if you don't do that, you just heat it and then move on with the rest of the steps, which is what we'll be doing now. Okay, so I have my 3 egg yolks. I'm going to whisk them with a half cup of sugar, and it should be light yellow by the time that this is all mixed in. Ooh, I just remember that I have not preheated my oven. No one is shocked. We're gonna preheat it to 300. Okay, I also have the kettle on the boil because we will need some hot water. I will turn it off because it needs to be hot water, but not boiling. But spoiler alert, we'll get there when we get there. Okay, so we're mixing in the sugar. I'm actually using a whisk instead of just, actually, should I hold it like this? I feel like baking people hold it like that. It's very, I don't know. I don't like it, but it probably looks better. Rest of the sugar, and look, this is actually a very nice pale yellow. It's like an Easter yellow. All right, I'm gonna turn off my kettle. Okay. So now we are going to pour in the hot cream into the egg and sugar mixture. You have to do this really slowly because if you pour in all your hot cream at once, you're gonna cook your eggs, and that's not what we're going for. So you have to do it slowly and whisk vigorously. So pour in a little bit. I'm sure I have 3 hands, but you gotta work with what God gave you. A little bit more cream. So this just allows the egg mixture to adjust to the temperature instead of being like heated up very suddenly. It's just a little bit of hot cream at a time. I'm tired today. Yeah, I can't imagine doing this for, actually that feels good. Maybe this is how you're supposed to do it. Okay, we are almost there. Look at this beautiful mixture. And now, if you're not using a vanilla bean, is when you add your vanilla. As usual, no idea how much you're supposed to add. Whew. All right, this is gonna be a very vanilla creme brulee, but who wants anything other than that? Okay, so now we are going to pour the mixture into some cute little ramekins. I wonder if I actually got out enough. We'll see. I got these cute little creme brulee ramekins from my brother-in-law, Tommy, who actually posted a baking video the other day. So we're gonna pour this in there. And as you can see, I am putting the ramekin into another dish. Oops, don't slosh out. It's sloshed out. Okay, one moment. Just a little slosh. Because what is gonna go into the bottom is that hot water that we were heating up earlier. I have done it in the past where I heated it to the point where the water was boiling and it made, I think it was too hot and the egg mixture split, as Paul Hollywood would say. This is gonna be some very precarious oven situation with how high I am pouring these creme brulees. I should have made 3, but you know what they say about hindsight. Okay, so we're going to put in this water just up to about 1 inch of the top of the ramekin. Would you say that's about 1 inch from the top? Or more water? A little bit more?
That's good.
All right. Glory, our oven has preheated, and so we are going to delicately and gently put this into the oven. Hopefully there will be no spilling. There's 100% gonna be spilling. I'm just gonna have to live with it. It's gonna be okay, Erin. It's totally fine. There's no crying and baking. Well, folks, we've done it. Okay, so no spilling. It is going to cook for 25 to 30 minutes until it just sets. So hopefully, if we've done this right, who knows? I've never successfully made creme brulee, just split eggy creme brulee, not as good. We're gonna try 25 minutes and we'll check back in. Ooh, okay, so they are quite close to the top. Let's see. Is this the proper amount of wobble? They should have a little wobble. I think that's a good amount of wobble. Can you see the wobble?
Yeah.
They don't look split, but maybe they do. They also don't look cooked all the way through. What do we think?
Maybe they'll firm as they cool.
I don't know. Huh. Let's check Mark Bittman. I know about the wobble. What else do I need to know? It should wobble a little. Okay, until it just sets. I don't know if I would call this set. Because it's not wobbling just in the middle, it's wobbling all over the place. Do you agree?
Yeah.
All right, let's do 3 more minutes. All right, so we've put our little babies back in for 3 more minutes. Did it? All right, now let's check out this wobble situation. It honestly doesn't look that much different than our previous wobble situation, but I did notice that when I was putting the custards back into the oven, that if they were completely if they were completely unset, they would have sloshed over, and they didn't slosh over, so I feel like there's some surface tension to get some engineering, I assume, terms in. So what we're gonna do is we are going to somehow get the little individual ramekins out. I didn't quite plan for this. Like many aspects of baking, just didn't occur. So how do you get something out when it's surrounded by water without spilling it? All right, I need you to do this. Do you feel like how Tom Hanks felt in
Castaway?
No, Space One. He's in space. He's either in space or on the ground. And they need to get the spaceman back to the ground.
They need to get the spaceman back to the ground.
Houston, we have a problem. That movie.
Oh, Apollo 13. Yeah, that is what I feel
You
like.
knew what I was talking about.
You know, the weird thing is I really didn't.
Rat.
I know.
Okay, did you feel like Tom Hanks?
In what? Castaway?
We just finished Succession, which is a really intense show, but I think it's got nothing on how stressful this maneuver is. Glorious. All right, so I'm gonna wrap these in plastic wrap and put them in the oven for not in the oven. I'm gonna put them in the fridge for 2 hours. Okay, so I did goof the recipe earlier. So we put in a half cup of sugar. That's because I did not read carefully, just as I did with the other steps. So I should have put half of the sugar into the egg mixture and then put half on top, and instead I put all of the sugar in here. So I don't know if that's the reason that our custard hasn't quite set. So it's pretty wobbly, but you know, it still has the same ingredients, so texture might be weird, but we're gonna truck on. So the last step of your creme brulee is you're going to cover the top in sugar. Yay. I've been asked to do a low sugar recipe, and I have not yet done one, so I'm sorry about that. And this is definitely not a low sugar recipe, especially if you follow my erroneous instructions. So we're just sprinkling this on top, and then I think creme brulee means, no, I'm not even gonna pretend. I read it earlier, but I don't remember. I think it means burnt cream, cooked cream. It means burnt cream. So what you do is you caramelize the sugar on top. I have no idea if this is an appropriate amount of sugar, but we're gonna find out.
I've been tasked with using the blowtorch to burn our sugar on top. So we'll see how this works.
If you don't have a blowtorch, you can put your creme brulee at the top of your oven and broil it until the sugar caramelizes. I believe it's a couple minutes. I can smell.
I can too.
It smells like caramelizing sugar.
Right.
I'm a little worried that because the custard hadn't quite set, that the sugar was just sinking down into the mixture, but now I'm starting to see some coloration. Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. We're burning that cream or that sugar.
Also thanks to my brother-in-law Tommy for getting us that blowtorch.
All right, well we're gonna try it from here. Yeah, it's a little loose. But let's see how it tastes. It tastes delicious. It's a lovely little cream.
So I think ultimately this might be more of a creme anglaise than a creme brulee because it did not set.
Mayhaps.
All right, so I've just tasted it. It tastes somewhat correct, way too sugary and way too runny. So I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 10.
I give you a 10 out of 10.
Bye.
Well, are you stuck in your house with nothing to do? Erin is here to bake with you. Quarantine baking with Erin.